What is up, everybody? I'm back. I am back. I am back. I'm back for another video. So tonight, I wanted to share. We did 2 videos the other night, and that was for the last 2 nights. And then tonight, I wanted to share my testimony. And I wanted to share my story, a little bit about who I am. So I'll just jump right in. This will be my testimony, take 1, go. I was born and raised in Shakopee, Minnesota, right outside the Twin Cities. I have 2 great siblings, one older, one younger. So I am the middle child to great parents. And yeah, I was born in 1992 into a hockey family. It's kind of like religion up here, so it's a big deal. And so we played hockey. My dad played hockey. A lot of my uncles, cousins, my brother played hockey. So I always wanted to be a hockey player growing up. I always loved it. I always enjoyed it. I always dreamed about being in the NHL. Dreamed about playing in high school when I was a kid, because my brother was in high school playing when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So my earliest memories, he was in high school. He's 10 years older than me. I'm about 2.5 years older than my little sister. And so, yeah, growing up, it was a great household, great parents. Not perfect. We didn't really live a Christian lifestyle. We didn't really make God our number one. I mean, my parents tried, and they did their best, and they were, like I said, amazing parents. I was very blessed, a very great childhood. Many great memories of playing with the neighbor kids, or playing night games, or having family parties at our house. There's always people over, aunts, cousins, and so it was an open house, and there's always people over, and I'm very grateful for that. In terms of spiritual things, I mean, it was a morally good thing to do. We went to church sometimes. We just didn't kind of know Jesus deeply, know the things of God, and know the Bible in a lifestyle way, in an intimate way, in an intellectual way, And so it was just, it's kind of normal. I mean, it's kind of normal America, to be honest. I mean, the statistics of families and Christianity. So it was kind of normal, and just a normal household in the suburbs, and I enjoyed it, loved it. Through high school, continued to play hockey. Didn't do the best in school. Still graduated high school, of course, and went to college, but I didn't have the best grades, and didn't try my hardest, didn't apply myself, didn't want to. And I just remember wanting acceptance, feeling empty inside, wanting to be accepted by my peers, by people, and just feeling like I wanted to fit in. And there was times where maybe made fun of, or people making jokes, or friends making jokes, but it actually really impacted me or hurt me. Like, guys will be guys and just make guy jokes, but those things actually impacted me and kind of hurt me in a way, and then it caused me to respond maybe negatively or not make the best choices throughout high school. There's that, and then it was also just the thing to do in high school was to kind of live a party lifestyle. I mean, my hockey team, you play hockey, you work hard, you go to school, and then if you want to party, you party. You can go out and do parties on the weekend or whatever, do stuff like that, live a party lifestyle, and that's what I did throughout high school. It was normal. It was, I just wanted to fit in. I wanted to be cool. It was just one of those things where. And then you start to do some stuff, some party stuff and bad stuff, make some bad choices, and you kind of get hooked and addicted on stuff, and then you're like, okay, didn't see that coming, type of thing. Graduated high school, went to college, and just the party lifestyle got way more intense. I'm 18 now, kind of free, did whatever we wanted to do, and got to college, and even that summer before was pretty intense, and just not making the best choices, not hanging around with the best people. And a month into college, in September of 2011, I got encountered by God, and the Lord pursued me, and He found me. I was very weak, very broken, and needed a Savior. I didn't know it then, but I needed him. And through a series of events and a few weeks and months, he pursued me. And I got into some trouble at college, whatever, and that was kind of the beginning of it, where he started to pursue me there when I was at my lows and got in trouble. And then after that, just started to see things differently and like feel, oh wow, God, you're real. Maybe, possibly, like, wow, everything looks new. And just kind of cried out to him in that season because I was just full of anxiety, had a lot of anxiety and just a lot of emotional stuff going on, and then the party stuff and the addictions to bad stuff I was doing. And Jesus came and met me in that very place where I did not know him. I did not know the things about him. I was very, very in the dark. I feel like ignorant. I mean, the kids in church in high school and junior high growing up, I mean, my high school buddies and hockey friends that I had, we kind of stayed away from the church kids. I had this thought in my mind that those guys, those kids, there's one on the hockey team, like, they're weird. They're not very cool. They're not nice. You know, I didn't feel like accepted. I didn't feel close to them. I didn't feel, and that's not their fault, but I just didn't feel like I fit in at church when I would go there. I didn't feel like I fit in with those guys. So that was my perception of church. That was my perception of Christianity. Like, I don't fit in there. I don't like it. It's boring, and I always feel uncomfortable. I always felt uncomfortable, which I find is very interesting. Now I know why. It's because I didn't know God. I was living in sin. I didn't repent of my sins, turn to him, believe, and ask him to come and fill me until I was 18. And in that first, second month now of school, that's when the Lord really started to pursue me. In that time, I got in trouble. And then a week or two later, I walked through campus one night from the library to my dorms, walking through campus, walked in these doors I'd never been into in the CSU building where it's the main hub. They got food and whatever. And I heard music coming from the auditorium. Walked towards the music. It was like 8, 9 o'clock at night, like on a Tuesday night. And then there's no one really around. I mean, it's late at night. I was just walking through, heard music, and sure enough, it was Encounter. Encounter MSU it was a ministry on campus from a local church, New Creation, which is now my home church. Let's go. And some of them are still my friends to this day. I didn't know them at that point, didn't know what they were doing. I just felt something. I stayed there 5 minutes, had to leave, but I just felt something was right. Something was different. And so I was like, I had to get connected. I grabbed a pamphlet. Didn't know anyone. Didn't know a soul. Didn't know what they were doing. I just heard some music, and they transitioned to announcements, and I was like, cool. And then I left. Kept that pamphlet, and then went to their next service, which was at their church, a few miles from campus in North Mankato. And at the church it was the Friday night Fire in the Night service. It was the first time I went to that church, first time I went to church voluntarily on my own in my life. 18 years old, to watch in that church on a Friday night. They did a Fire in the Night from 7 p.m. till midnight. I was blown away because I called the church office. People love this. I didn't know what to expect. Is it like a carnival? Like, do you guys have food? What am I going to do if I come? Can I come? Is church on Friday nights? I thought church was on Sunday mornings. That's how much in the dark I was. I didn't know. And they were doing a prayer and worship meeting from 7 till midnight on a Friday night to pray and to worship and do a little teaching in between. And they're like, yeah, come on down. It'll be great. I didn't really know what they were doing at the time. She just said, yeah, we're going to do this and come on down. So I went. Stayed the whole time. I didn't know. I walked in and they were playing music, so I just went in the auditorium and just worshipped God for the first time. And that changed my life. That night changed my life. And I remember the teaching, the theme of the night was the breaking of addictions, which here I am, 18 years old, and I have addictions. I need the saving grace of Jesus to touch my life. I didn't give my life to the Lord because I didn't know I had to do that. No one told me. Even that night, there was an altar call for the breaking of addictions. So like at 11-something p.m., I went up to the altar call, first time ever, and someone prayed for me. And I thought he was Australian or some crazy foreign accent. Turns out it was just a really thick Minnesota accent. My good buddy, Luke Wagner. He prayed for me. I'm like, this guy, is he serious right now? And like, what do you need prayer for? And I told him a few like things. I was like, yeah, I think I have addictions, man. He's like, oh yeah, to what? And I told him like bad stuff, like drugs and stuff. And he's like, wow. I didn't think he expected it. And so he prayed, and I just remember feeling a release. And then he connected with me after. We got each other's phone numbers, and we just continued to hang out those next few months. And then I just kept coming back to every prayer meeting they had, every worship night they had, on campus, off campus. And I just learned how to pray with those prayer meetings that we would do on campus. And we would turn on IHOP, the prayer room, and we would just 5 to 10 of us, and we would pray for an hour or 2 or 3 and worship God. And that's how I learned how to pray. And just watching people like AP and Max and Sarah and Allie and a few others, and they would just cry out to God as college students and cry out for their campus, cry out for their families, cry out for salvation, and just worship Jesus. And that was the very beginning for me. And from there, that was a very hard season because I was getting attacked from the enemy. He wanted my soul. God wanted my soul. So there was this war. That's how it is in the kingdom. There is a war for your soul. And by the grace of God, and thankfully I made the decision to go the right way, to go give my life and not go down that bad path, but choose life, choose Jesus. And that's what I did. I remember just over weeks and months continually to choose that without anyone leading me in a prayer, without doing an altar prayer. I just remember doing that. And that's kind of my salvation story. And then from there I went back in my second year of school, and there's a few things that happened where I felt really bad. Like I did a couple small things wrong, because at this point I'm on fire now for God. I am radically different. I am just kind of the guy that you don't want to be around, newly saved, kind of embarrassing, like radical, zealous, and looking back I'm like, wow, it's kind of embarrassing. Like wearing the Jesus t-shirts which is great, but it was just I was overboard, I feel like. Might have scared some people, but that was me that next year. And then I kind of I didn't even do anything bad. I just kind of messed up a few times, and I felt so much guilt and shame. I was so new in this walk with God. I didn't have this intimate relationship where I know him as a father or as a friend or as a bridegroom. I just felt guilt and shame. And then that led to a few other small things, sins that I did wrong. And then that led to like a week or 2 of me just kind of running back to my old life and kind of relapsing. And then from there, I was like, okay, I got to leave Mankato. Maybe not the best decision. Maybe it was. I don't know. Probably shouldn't have left. But I just left because I was like, oh my gosh, God, you saved me. How could I ever do this again? This was 9 years ago. I was like, how could I ever do this again? And then if I hear him now going, son, that it's okay. You're going to make it. You're going to be okay. Those aren't that big of things to me. You see them as these huge things. Those are little pebbles to me. I hear him saying that now. You're clean. You're clean. I didn't hear him then. I heard you're dirty. You're dirty. You did wrong. You're horrible. I heard those things. And it just made me feel so much shame and guilt. So I kind of ran away from God for a week. And then decided to go to Teen Challenge. Even though I don't think I needed to. But I just did because I was like, I got to get with God. I messed up really bad. And kind of just went to Teen Challenge, and I was there. Did the short term, then went to long term for like 6 months-ish. And then that wasn't the best place for me either. I left there. And from there, I was at a crossroads. This was summer of 2013. Crossroads marking time in my life. Summer of 2013. Got out of Teen Challenge. Not on the best terms. Kind of broke the policy there a few times. But I was still just zealous for God, wanted God. I was saved, and I've experienced the grace of God, but still felt shame and condemnation just because of bad things I've done after knowing him. After he saved me, how could I do this again? And so I haven't got free. My heart hasn't been unlocked in the mercy of God and the kindness of his heart. Until that summer of 2013, I was at a crossroads. I had many people, close ones in my life, telling me to go back to Teen Challenge or to go somewhere else. Some were saying go back to Mankato, go to school. I had a few job opportunities. I could have worked with my dad. I could have stayed in Minneapolis area and just worked. Or like the 4th or 5th option was go down to Kansas City, go to IHOP. Of course, that's the one I chose. My dad and then one other friend, I think, were the only people who were like encouraging me to make that choice. And I think I mostly did because my dad one day said, "Yeah, you should go to IHOP. You should go down to Kansas City." And that's probably the best decision I've ever made in my life, was go down to Kansas City and go to IHOP. Just the experience of being with hundreds and thousands of other young people and radical, one heart, one mind, going after God and building a deep friendship, a community, Sermon on the Mount lifestyle, encountering Jesus, the widespread revelation, the knowledge of teachings that I went from going down there for the 4-year Bible school, and the information and that revelation that I understood was life-changing. Like, it was just every day. It was like I took a straw and was drinking, and someone opened up a fire hydrant, and it was just blasting at me, and all the students, and we're just trying to drink this from the straw. It was just like, knowledge, revelation, and you're trying to get your head around it, and then you go in the prayer room and sit there and soak and be with Jesus, and then talk with him about what you're learning. And it was just such a formative, life-changing, foundational time in my life and my spiritual life too, where I've built this foundation now, and I know him, I know his word, and I took the prime of my life those years. I was there 7-8 years, and I did the 4-year Bible school. I took those 7-8 years. Those 4 of those years were very intentional. That's all I did. And went after him, sought him, was changed from the inside out. And I can say I'm a different person. I feel more love and kindness. I have more victory and freedom. I have a calling and clarity of calling. I have seen and heard his voice in my heart and my still small voice. And I have built friendships that will last forever and last my whole life. And I met my wife there. I met Gracie, and who's from South Dakota. And so in 2013, I decided to go to Kansas City, which was something I didn't know would be so... I knew, but I also knew because I asked myself 2 questions that summer. Keegan, who do you want to be in 40... No. I know this. I asked myself 2 questions, and they kind of pushed me in that right direction. And those 2 questions were, who do you want to be in 40 years, and what's burning on your heart? Not what do you want to do, not what vocation or where do you want to live, do you want to have a family, but who do you want to be, and what's the thing that's you're passionate about. And so all I could think of was I wanted to be like Mary. I wanted to sit at Jesus' feet, hear his word, and be in his house, dwell in his temple day and night. And I wanted to hear his word and then sing and speak his word back to him. I wanted to be like Mary of Bethany. So that was before I went to IHOP. And that's just what I kept thinking. I want to be someone who's tender, who's vulnerable, who has the Bible open when I'm older. And that's my life goal and vision, to be 60 years old and crying when I read my Bible. 70 years old and being kind, having a kind heart towards the next generation, towards young kids. Being unoffended, being 80 years old and being generous and kind and loving and on fire. That's my life goal and vision. That's where I'm going. And and those 2 questions helped me get there. Because what was I passionate about? I didn't really know then. I have more clarity now. But then I was like, I don't really know what I'm passionate about. If anything, like God and prayer is what I want, is what I'm passionate about, because my life was so changed by that. I can't deny it. Like, I can't hide it. And my life was flipped upside down. And it is something that I am very grateful for, and that I don't deserve. I have 2 things in my life where I realized I don't deserve the saving knowledge of Jesus. I didn't deserve it then. I don't deserve it now, but he gave it to me. He came and met me. He came and stepped into my life, opened up heaven, reached down and touched my heart. And he continues to do that. I don't deserve him. I'm not that good of a person. I'm not that smart. I'm just a run-of-the-mill at best. And he saved me. And I don't deserve my wife. It's Gracie. It's undeserving. And I just very thankful. Now I'm married. My wedding day was the best day of my life, April 14th, 2019. And live in Minnesota, and hopefully one day I'll have kids. And I paint houses and love God and try to be connected with the church and to go to prayer meetings. And that's what I do. And that's what I want to continue to do, is just be built up and to be have understanding and wisdom, because that will be the stability in those days, will be wisdom and understanding. And just so that one day I will be prepared and strong enough to be what God has for me, what he calls me to do. And so that's my story, a little bit of it. Peace.